You spend thousands of dollars on heavy copper wiring, high-end solar panels, and premium battery banks. But every single night, you might be bleeding value out of that system, and it has nothing to do with how you wired it. It happens right here, inside a single misunderstood software menu. Your hybrid inverter acts like a traffic cop. Every second of the day, it decides where your household power should come from: your solar panels, your battery bank, or the utility grid. It makes those routing decisions based on a priority order programmed into its settings. Look through almost any manual and you'll find 4 main options: SBU, SUB, utility first, and battery first. A lot of system owners treat these settings like a simple personal preference, just choosing how they want the power to flow based on what sounds good. These priority modes function as the operating logic for your entire system. They dictate how fast your hardware wears out, how much you pay the utility company, and what your total cost of ownership actually looks like. If you don't master what each of these acronyms actually does to your power flow, you will end up paying for unnecessary, expensive battery wear. To understand why this menu is so critical, we have to look at the finite currency of any solar storage system: cycle life. Every single time your inverter pulls energy out of your battery bank and pushes it to your house, it spends a fraction of that irreplaceable lifespan. A battery is not a source of free energy. It is a consumable wear item. This chart shows the core trade-off for inverter settings. On the x-axis, grid independence. On the y-axis, battery longevity. You cannot maximize both. Aggressive settings like SBU work batteries hard, but conservative settings like utility first sit opposite: low independence, high longevity. And this operational cost is compounded by inverter efficiency losses. When you pull stored power, the conversion generates heat. A percentage of your battery's finite cycle life is burned off as thermal waste before a single watt even reaches your lights or appliances. This is why prioritizing maximum battery usage to achieve a $0 electricity bill is often a financial trap. You might save a few dollars a month on grid power, but you are quietly accelerating a multi-thousand-dollar battery replacement. Let's look closely at the 2 most debated operating modes. We'll start with SBU, solar, battery, utility. This is the absolute favorite setting among off-grid enthusiasts. Looking at this power flow schematic, SBU creates a strict sequential path. Your loads are powered by your solar panels first. Then, when the sun goes down and solar production drops, the inverter smoothly transitions to pulling from your battery reserves. Utility power is completely ignored. The grid only steps in if your battery drains all the way down to a critically low programmed voltage threshold. The appeal is obvious. SBU successfully maximizes your solar self-consumption and shrinks your daily grid reliance down to almost nothing. But the cost is heavy. SBU guarantees severe daily cycling wear on your battery bank. Worse, if a grid outage happens overnight while your battery sits empty at that low voltage cutoff, your home goes dark. You have zero reserve capacity. That brings us to SUB, solar, utility, battery. This is the reliability alternative, and it shifts the priority order. Solar still takes top priority during the day, but when the afternoon rolls in and solar production drops, the inverter bypasses the battery entirely. It goes straight to the utility grid to power your home. Notice what happens to your storage system. The battery bank remains fully charged, isolated from the daily load, waiting safely in reserve. SUB drastically reduces your cycle count, extending the physical lifespan of your hardware. If a storm knocks out the power at 2 a.m., you have 100% of your capacity available to keep your critical loads running. SBU is built for aggressive grid avoidance. SUB functions as an insurance policy for grid failures. There are 2 other menu extremes. Utility First mode is a hyper-conservative setting. It prioritizes grid stability above all else, keeping your home on utility power and essentially ignoring your battery capacity for daily use. Then there's Battery First mode, the aggressive opposite. This setting ruthlessly pushes your stored energy to the loads at all times, burning through your capacity until the batteries are totally depleted. If you use these aggressive battery priority modes, you expose your system to a hidden, rarely documented drain: standby losses. Even when you turn off all your lights and your household loads are practically zero, the hybrid inverter is still awake. Its LCD screens, internal control boards, active monitoring circuits, and cooling fans all consume continuous power overnight. This line graph shows exactly what happens over a 12-hour night. You might expect a shallow, gentle discharge curve while you sleep. But the reality is a steeply dropping actual discharge curve as those parasitic losses drag your battery down. This phantom drain accelerates depletion. It forces your system to hit its critical low-voltage cutoff threshold long before the sun comes up to recharge it. The result is highly frustrating. Your inverter hits empty and is forced to make an unplanned transfer to grid power anyway, completely defeating the purpose of selecting the aggressive setting in the first place. Trying to perfectly zero out your grid usage often backfires. You end up wasting expensive cycle life simply to keep the inverter's own computers running in the dark. Whether these aggressive modes actually save you money depends entirely on the specific chemistry sitting in your battery bank. Traditional lead-acid batteries are vulnerable to deep discharges. They degrade quickly if left in a partial state of charge for long periods. If you apply SBU or battery-first modes to a lead-acid bank, the daily deep cycling induces rapid sulfation on the internal plates. You will effectively destroy the physical hardware long before your monthly grid savings can pay for a replacement bank. Modern LiFePO4 batteries are a completely different story. Their chemistry is vastly superior for handling the punishing daily deep cycles demanded by off-grid modes. But even with lithium, physics still apply. Every cycle is still wear on the cells. The difference is simply that the timeline to failure stretches out significantly longer. Aggressive independence modes are a heavy operational luxury. It is a luxury that only LiFePO4 owners can truly afford, without risking catastrophic premature hardware failure. Choosing your setting isn't about finding a universally perfect mode. It's a matching exercise between the software's logic and your specific real-world goals. This flowchart maps out exactly how to make that decision based on 3 primary profiles: reliability, financial ROI, and independence. If you are a reliability prepper living in an area with frequent grid drops, your system is a life raft. You need maximum backup capacity ready at all times. Your path leads to SUB mode. If you are a financial pragmatist with cheap, stable grid access, your goal is to lower your bills without burning through expensive hardware. Your optimal path is utility first. If you are an autonomy optimizer with a lithium chemistry battery and an oversized solar array, you accept hardware wear as the necessary cost of zero grid reliance. SUB mode is your target. Before you change anything, open your specific inverter manual. Naming conventions vary wildly between brands, so verify how your manufacturer defines transfer thresholds. Most importantly, you must ensure your inverter's load voltage cutoff parameters perfectly match your battery's internal management system. If they don't, you risk sudden emergency system shutdowns. True system efficiency isn't about forcing your battery to work as hard as possible. It is about deploying that stored energy only when the outcome strictly justifies the cost of the cycle.